Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/goldenboot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. Got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. First off, I want to say thank you everybody for being here with us. Thank you for joining us. But could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But first, how you doing this evening, my boy?
I am here. I'm good, brother. One day closer to the weekend, man. One day closer to the weekend.
I agree. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be alive. Happy to be breathing. I'm tired. I am sleepy. I took it.
Tired of being sick and tired.
I hurried up and drove to work this morning just so I could take a nap before I went into work this morning. That's how tired I am.
Hey, that's on the same level as me the other day whenever I took a day off of work just so I could sleep.
Yeah. But best believe I'm gonna be getting a lot of sleep when I get to the house, man. It's a wrap. I'm taking a day or two. They're gonna have to catch me.
So what's the average amount of hours of sleep you get a night? Just while we're talking.
Normally, when I'm at home, I probably get like 7, 8, something like this. I'm lying.
Say, bro,
I get 5, 6.
That's what I was about to say. I get 6 if I'm lucky. But I was about to say I would harm someone to get 8 hours of sleep in the night. Like, I would literally do somebody down bad to get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, and Zay gonna understand. First off, what's good, everybody in the chat? Zay, Josh, cousin Nick in here, our man Julian. We finna get to that too, Julian. I'm gonna bring that back up. But Zay said 4.5 is a great night for me. Zay, you gonna understand this. I never had sleeping problems. Till I deployed. Even through basic getting up, ever since I came back, I have not been able to just sleep peacefully. On the weekends, if I don't stay up past like 1 or 2 o'clock, I'm up at 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'm up at. I can't sleep past 8, no matter what day it is.
I can't. I literally
normally,
normally
I can't sleep past like 7 unless I had some liquid courage the night before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
part of the reason I can't sleep that long is because young who you want to be young Ichiro / they Griffey, King Griffey the third.
Man, it's the Ichiro.
Man, he be coming in there, you know what I'm saying? First thing he coming there in them draws, you know what I'm saying, stretching like he, you know what I'm saying, and he, Daddy, you sleep. I know you ain't sleep. I'm hungry. I want some cereal. And his voice be like that. I want some cereal.
Yeah, man.
That's how you do.
I don't know how we got. I got on this topic at work. I polled my whole office to see how much sleep people get at night, and I realized that I just don't get sleep compared to most people. Because everybody was like 7, and I was like, nah, I would hurt somebody to get 7.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll pay some good money to get 7 hours of sleep.
I get, when I do get like 7-8 hours of sleep, my first night when I go out of town for work, that first night,
Yeah,
I get that
yeah.
much. After that, yeah.
Even I can't get that much sleep on vacation, cause
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's just how it is. It's just 'cause, Daddy, I want some cereal. That's what I get, man.
it's doing him, man.
He coming, Daddy, can we go outside and play catch?
Breath all warm and
Hey, hey, it's 6:45 in the morning. He be like, Daddy, can we go outside and play catch? No, boy, I go to sleep. Leave me alone. But speaking of catch, these Bayou Bengals on the diamond, the boys playing some defense. We talked about them previously, how much improved the defense has been in pitching as well. They are ranked number 1 nationally on defense. Right now,
but I thought LSU shortstop was an error who shouldn't be playing shortstop.
Man, listen, not just that. We we ain't gonna have a good team. We don't even know who's gonna be at second base. We don't know who's gonna be at second base. You don't have a second base.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
I forgot about that part.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I just,
oh boy.
But some people just know baseball, man. They know baseball more than
right.
But they're taking on Lamar right now. Lamar is located in Beaumont, Texas. I found that out tonight. I didn't know what Lamar was. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew Lamar was the Redbirds.
Southland Conference.
Yeah, I knew there was a Redbird. There was a Thunderbird or something like that. But LSU is up 6-1 in the top of the 6th. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of youth getting that exercise out again tonight. But Julian put up, he said Tommy White heating up just in time for SEC play. He put one over the wall today that made, I think, number 3 for him for the season. So yeah, he getting hot at the right time.
You love to see it.
Yeah, you love to see it. It's just about everybody getting hot. Beloso then came back, started playing like the Beloso we thought we had 2 years ago. Yeah. So I love it. Move Trader to left field. I was against.
So him and Beloso basically switch spots.
Pretty much. So, but yeah, man, it's good to see, man. But we gotta see who they play this weekend. Does it start this? I think is this the last weekend before SEC play, or
I thought they had one more week. I could be wrong.
One more. So look it up real quick. Should have been prepared, but I wouldn't expect to talk about that right now. I wasn't expecting to talk about that, but let's see who we got.
Going down
Samford. No, the Samford. They got Samford this weekend, and then
Samford
Bulldogs out of the Birmingham area. Then they got UNO in midweek, and then Texas A&M
next weekend. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be litty. But let's move on. Let's talk a little football, man.
But it's the off season.
Ain't no off season. Ain't no off season. Listen, it feel like we was just talking about how TCU screwed up, how Ohio State should have won, how Georgia is now a dynasty and has an easy path to number 3 next year, and next year is here. Spring practice starts tomorrow. Spring practice, I repeat, starts tomorrow.
Let's go.
It's funny because last year this time we were talking about congratulations on LSU signing Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has come to LSU. Hey, Jaden, you know what I'm saying? Come in, compete, do your thing. And
the question was, could he beat out Miles Brennan?
yeah. Will he beat out Miles Brennan? They didn't bring Miles back to sit on the bench. They didn't bring in another quarterback to sit on the bench. Garrett Nussmeier be gone by the end of spring. Walker Howard is just staying. It's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? They just waiting out their time. Walker Howard taking over next year. It don't matter. Yeah.
Next year is here.
Walker Howard gone. Miles Brennan retired.
Never took a snap. Jaden Daniels won the West.
Garrett is much improved, still on this roster, and gaining respect daily.
Yep, by both fans and his teammates. You know what I mean? So, and despite what everybody says, Jaden and us get along well. So
very well.
I mean, basically, there was a lot of there's a lot of people saying stuff that they had no idea what they were talking about.
And a lot of stuff. We talked about this a while ago about some of the bad takes that we heard.
3-9.
3-9. 5-7, 4-8.
After that Florida State loss, we were going 3-9.
We may not be Southern. Hey, by the way, Southern won the West too. And the swag. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I think we should temper expectations. I also think that it's fine to admit when you're wrong. I think a lot of fans still hold grudge. A lot of people won't support Jaden or won't support Nuss because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. At some point, man, suck it up.
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? A wise person once told me, when you do sports podcasting or sports news or whatever, and you talk about it 2 or 3 times a week or however much, you're gonna be wrong on some stuff, and it's fine to admit that.
Yep.
So I have to admit that. But I did bring up all that, talked about JD5 when he signed. LSU just signed another big time player. And I say big time because of what it could represent or what it could mean.
Position of need? Question mark.
I'm gonna say position of need, not necessarily in need of for someone to quote unquote start, but it's a position of need for depth, quality depth. LSU signs Mason Lunsford, transfer offensive guard from Maryland. And I know some things people gonna hear Maryland and be like, Maryland, but he played in the Big Ten.
Maryland had a high-powered offense. Well, when people say when I say high power, I'm not talking 2019 LSU, but they put up points and they was a passing type offense with Tua little brother.
Tua Lalia.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try. He Tua little brother to me. But yeah, he started at guard, left guard if I'm not mistaken, all 13 games. So, like you say, he might not start for LSU, but it's at least quality depth.
If I'm not mistaken, he has 28 games experience in the Big Ten. So that's great, you know what I'm saying, to have when you have experience like that. I often think about Deculus. Deculus was kind of looked at, you know what I'm saying, frowned upon. But Deculus stayed the course. He hung around, and it basically was the had the most starts in LSU history. And not just that, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't give up a sack his senior season or his 5th year season or whatever, something like that.
I know he didn't versus Alabama, but I don't know if it was the whole season or not. But I say this, in this I know he's not coming. He's coming from the Big Ten, and it's not JUCO. But Damian Lewis was a guy who came and was
Same
supposed
thing,
to
yeah.
just be dealt. He was supposed to just be dealt, but because of some other things, he ended up having to be called upon to play a bigger role, and more than held his own in that role, and ended up becoming a high quality NFL player. So I'm not saying that's what is
A
going to
big
be the
time
case
part of
with.
that Joe Moore Award winning
Yeah,
offensive line.
definitely. And I'm not. I know I'm not trying to say that this guy right here will end up becoming a starter and becoming an NFL draft pick like Daniel. I'm just saying this is the type of player that you need to have as far as depth and experience in your offensive line room if you're going to be that championship caliber type of team.
Yeah. So before we get started this spring, there are several players that are out this spring due to injuries. Looks like Mason Taylor, Armani Goodwin, I'm sorry, Charles Turner, Mekhi Wingo, Deuce Chestnut, the West Virginia D-line transfer, Jordan Jefferson, and Aaron Anderson. So
which one is the most concerning to you?
It's not really concerning.
Or any of them concerning.
I want to see Charles Turner. But here's the caveat to that. I want to see Charles Turner back
At
healthy.
center?
As if he's at center, just simply to get that, make sure, work out any kinks or whatever. Because honestly, against against Florida State, that center's quarterback exchange stalled a drive or two against Florida State. Not blaming the whole game on that, but I'm just saying contribute. So if he's not, because I've heard that there's some other people who they have looked at to possibly be starting center. So it's good for them to get an opportunity, but if I can get him more reps, because he was a dog at times.
Yeah. So you basically just want more chemistry and continuity with the center and quarterbacks.
Bingo.
Gotcha. I can agree with that. I really don't know if any of them were kind of that big of a deal to me. I kind of agree with you on the Charles Turner one, but just to go a different route, I'll go with Aaron Anderson.
Okay.
He didn't play last year.
That's true. That's true.
So he doesn't have the experience that pretty much every other transfer we got has. And he's probably, with Booty leaving, going to have a bigger role to fill. And him and JD need as much chemistry in that, RPO slant game and some of those things like we saw JD and Boutique kind of struggle with because they didn't have the summer and spring to, get those reps together. So that's for that reason I kind of go Aaron Anderson. But I think Charles Turner would be more concerning just because of how much depth you have at the receiver position versus the offensive line room. But I don't want to, just to be different.
Right.
I'll go Aaron Anderson.
I do say second to that, as kind of a tie, Mason Taylor and Armani Goodwin, for two different reasons. Taylor, depth. Right now, we know we have help coming in. I don't think they're on campus yet. So
none of them on campus?
I think maybe one of them.
I know you Markaway on campus.
Yeah, I think he's on campus, but I don't think
Pimpton not on campus.
I'm not sure. But either way,
that's the case, that might be. But I thought we had two freshmen on campus, and I was gonna say that because that gave them more reps, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it gives them more reps. It's just the depth piece, and that's it for that. Now for Armani Goodwin, he got hurt his freshman season. He got hurt last year, and it's been that hamstring.
I just want him to rest.
I want him to rest, but I'm just concerned. I want him to see him on the field. he's a difference. If people talk about John Emery, Goodwin is that's in the same kind of mold, in my opinion. John Emery has more of the athletic side of it, but
Yeah,
I think
they're different. They do it differently, but they're both explosive.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just, if he can bounce back, man, and get healthy, I'm good with it. But I'm more concerned. I just want him to be healthy. Period.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. And because you got such a deep running back room, you got enough depth to kind of handle the load in the spring to give everybody reps, and you know what I mean, and still be able to chance to keep everybody fresh and allow Goodwin to just worry about healing up and resting up and being 100% for the season.
All right. Now let's move on to something else, man. Permanent SEC opponents, man. We've talked about this. I'm not gonna say ad nauseum, but we talked about this a lot. We've speculated what is it gonna be the pod? Who will be in our pod with us? Was it gonna be, just the 3 and 6, and who will be our 3? Now it's been a lot of speculation and I think it's confirmed rumors. Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
So I got a question.
I got an answer.
The pods are technically out, right?
Technically, yes.
But this is basically the same thing as a pod without splitting everybody up into 4 different divisions.
Yeah.
Because you're still playing the same 3 teams every year, and the other 6 are rotating.
Yep.
So,
but I think that what makes this different is you're not rotating.
You're not getting the same
rotation.
Other people.
You're not just the rotation.
Yeah. So like Alabama not gonna play the same other teams we gonna play just because they would be in our pod or whatever. I'm with you, but in a way, it's sort of the same because you're playing the same 3 teams. But I figured it was gonna be something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have swapped Bama with Florida because I feel like that's more of a rival.
I wish they would have swapped Texas A&M with Florida. The SEC,
that would have been cool too.
SEC is trying to force this Texas A&M to be a rival with LSU.
But I feel like the Bama thing is the same way though, kind of. Because if Saban wouldn't have went there, it wouldn't really been a rival. You know what I mean? That's really, and that kind of started the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the competition, because it's typically been LSU versus Alabama, the winner kind of take all, at least the West, for the most part. I kind of understand. I think Alabama is a rivalry. I think that kind of happened a little bit more natural. Like I said, the Texas A&M thing is Ole Miss. Ole Miss is I've heard nobody. Ole Miss is a rivalry. Yeah,
but I think to me, the Texas A&M thing. Well, I admit it was sort of fabricated and trying to be fabricated by SEC. Like the overtime game, the punts thrown. You know what I mean? Like some of that kind of like this year when they beat us with their worst team. You know what I mean? Like some of that kind of makes it. That's some of that stuff is how rivalries are organically made. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like them SEC moving the game to rivalry week on the scale, like all that's fabricated.
Yeah.
Just like the SEC putting a bye week before LSU, Alabama every year was fabricated by the SEC to make that game build up. And so I just feel like, I mean, yeah, we played Mississippi State for a long time too. Are they a rival? You know what I mean? Like just because we played them a bunch doesn't necessarily mean they're a rival. But what I'm saying was until Nick Saban got there, LSU fans didn't look at Alabama as a true rival. They were just an SEC West opponent.
I mean, I understand what you say. I get it. I personally just, and it might just be me because
you live in Alabama too.
And that might be why I look at it like that.
I understand the Bama one, but
here's my thing, and I think we can agree on this. I don't like Bama. I don't like Bama fans. I hate Florida.
Agreed. That's why I want to play them every year. And I think part of me would rather swap Florida with Bama because I know Texas A&M would be an easier dub every year.
That's kind of
So
but yeah, the Florida thing. I just don't. I want to see Florida more. I don't want it to be every 2 or 3
5
years.
years,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
4 years, something. Yeah.
Julian said, "What about Auburn?" Man, listen.
There's some crazy games, but I don't really care. I don't really have no hatred for them. Like I root for Auburn more than I root for any team in the SEC West.
Almost went to Auburn.
I can see that.
I told you that story. I almost went.
Nah,
I got
we'll
accepted
talk
and
about it.
everything. We'll talk about it.
But
That's part of the reason I don't like Auburn.
Yeah, but I feel like I root for them more than I root for a lot of teams in the SEC West. It feel like, I guess, because a lot of people from the crib went to Auburn, like Will Height, and we got some 2 or 3 kids from there now who are Auburn. But I don't really feel like that's kind of, a rivalry. But Florida, bro, the first time I ever saw an LSU game live on TV, Florida waxed us. The first game I went to in person was 2003 season when we lost to Florida 19-7. I was at that game. First game I ever went to in Tiger Stadium. Yeah, pissed me off. And then you got all the stuff with the hurricane moving the game and the Mike the Tiger skeleton and the shoe throw and the Brad Wing running, you know what I'm saying, with the touchdown. You got so much in that. Like, I don't know how the SEC decided, like, nah, we're going to get rid of this every year.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Let me ask you this.
Did you see Texas? They got such an easy one.
They got They got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Arkansas, right?
They got who they wanted to get.
Pretty much. Let me ask you this. If this could have been 4 teams and rotate,
who would I want?
Yeah.
Florida.
Did you keep the same other 3 the same?
I don't really care about the rest. I just want Florida every year. Yeah. I don't care who the other ones are. Just give me Florida every year, bro.
All right. I agree on that.
I really like the Bama game. I get playing it every year, but I kind of feel like if we played it like especially if they do the SEC championship game where the top 2 teams play, I would love to play Bama in the SEC championship game instead of playing. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to play them every year. We had the chance to play them in the SEC championship game instead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's part of the reason why I don't want Bama as a permanent opponent. Just let us have to play. Like, we just had to see them in Atlanta if we want to. But I'm cool with it being Alabama, Ole Miss, Florida, and I really don't care for the Texas A&M mess though. But give me Arkansas. I like to keep that little golden boot thing.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
Tennessee. Dave Urban said he would like Florida, Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
That's a gauntlet, but that's interesting.
That boy is a glutton for punishment. I bet Dave the type person he like him.
He can
get up and fix me some cereal. It's time to wake up.
All right, so can we talk about how Alabama is mad that they're permanent opponents?
Hold on. I do want to give because
I didn't see Paul.
Yeah, Paul Sub said his personal 4 will be Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. I like that.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Same as me. I'm with it.
All right. Yeah. Tell me about Alabama and they crying.
All right, so Saban crying because he got to play Auburn, Tennessee, LSU every year. Let me ask you this, Pooh.
Yep.
I don't know, for the past 20 years, let's say, I don't know, maybe 30 years, has who been on Alabama's schedule?
Them same 3 teams.
Oh, okay. Why all of a sudden is it a problem?
Because those 3 teams have improved. See, Tennessee showed they ain't scared no more. They gave you a competition. They gave you a run for your money 2 years ago.
They finally beat you. They beat you
last year. Yeah.
But you know what?
Auburn
I find very interesting.
Auburn just hired the coach who had figured you out and was let's go.
Yeah. And I find this very interesting too. You could argue Auburn has had the toughest schedule in
Big
college
facts.
football for the past 15, 20 years
Big facts.
because they had to play Georgia, LSU, and Alabama every year.
Yeah.
No complaints from Alabama then. Of course not. But then when the shoe on the other foot, it's a problem. But so the SEC was
Auburn
like,
and
hey,
Tennessee too. Because if you look at Tennessee, has had to
Tennessee,
play Florida, Georgia,
Georgia.
Bama, Tennessee.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean,
so
Florida.
it's
You know
Florida,
what I'm
Georgia,
saying?
Florida, Georgia, and
And
Bama. But
Bama. That's what I mean. Yeah.
but you could argue the SEC West has been a tougher side. So Auburn got to play everybody in the West, and then Georgia out the East.
Oh yeah.
And so just like LSU, we got the other hard team out the way. So you ain't tripping whenever your rivals got a tough schedule, but when you got one, it's a problem. But I like what the SEC did. That was like, hey Auburn, I know you got to play Georgia and Bama, so we're gonna give you Vanderbilt.
I like it.
Yeah, shout out to them for not making them have to play like LSU or somebody like that as their other game.
Yeah, that would have been definitely brutal for them.
That would have been gone.
Yeah. Hey, I saw an interesting stat.
What you got?
Last time the Saints used a first or second round pick on a quarterback.
Oh, I know.
Archie Manning.
Yeah, and the next time they're gonna do it, is gonna be 2026 whenever they draft his grandson, Arch.
Man, please don't. Man, I ain't gonna say that.
It's too poetic, bro.
Yeah, you're right. They might. Well, no. 920. See what's gonna happen. 2025. The Saints gonna get a new coaching staff. They're going to improve. Yeah. They're not going to be in the top 10 in draft picks, and Arch is going to go to somewhere else.
All right, that's cool. We'll get
the Saints going to draft Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker going to follow up behind Derek Carr. And I was just talking.
In 2026, the Saints going to draft Ricky Collins. Never mind. We know that ain't gonna happen. He an LSU player.
Yeah. Quick question for you. With that being said, the Saints signed Derek Carr. Do you even try
big money?
Do you even try to get a quarterback in this? Because you're not gonna do it in the first round. It makes no sense to. Do you try to pick up one in the second round and develop behind Carr?
Nope. I wouldn't draft the quarterback until the third round at the earliest. You got too many holes on this team, man. Mm-hmm. You need defensive line help, bad, multiple positions. You need a running back, arguably a tight end, arguably DB help, arguably offensive line help. Then you need a quarterback. Now you solved your quarterback problem, I believe.
Yeah.
I think you can wait till like the fourth round or whatever and see what's there. If Hendon Hooker fall to the third round for some ungodforsaken reason, sure, run up to the podium and draft Hendon Hooker in the third round. But you don't have to try to reach for him in the second or try to draft like a Jake Hayner in the fourth or something like, you know what I mean? Like if it ain't there, don't try to get one. But if it fall to you and it's cool, But I feel like you got a lot more other needs to worry about other than quarterback now that you got Carr.
Yeah. Derek Carr. We're gonna get to that. I'm gonna ask a question though. Daniel Jones also got paid. We saw last year that Christian Kirk pretty much messed up the market for wide receivers. He not necessarily messed it up, meaning
that he reset it.
He reset basically. So the price, you know what I'm saying, the price for wide receivers went up significantly thanks to Jacksonville's generosity to Christian Kirk. Daniel Jones. Did he just mess it up and reset the clock for or reset the price of the bag for quarterbacks?
You could argue Jared Goff did. I know Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl, but if you want to talk about like level of play and where they're ranked as far as and like what tier they're in or whatever. I feel like when Jared Goff got his contract, that kind of really did it. I think he got like 145 million or something like that. So I feel like that's kind of, and then after that, it's just kind of been like, oh, you get 5 million more, you get 5, you know what I mean? And then now we up to 160. But I think that's kind of where if I look back, I think that's what it was. But this could be, I mean, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm licking my lips, right? Like, I mean, you got Daniel Jones getting 40 million a year, Derek Carr getting 37.5 a year. Like, I got at least get 45, right? Like, I mean.
So I'm glad you said that. The Ravens are placing a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. That's worth $32.41 million. As you say, now if this had been maybe a year and a half ago, I'm like, man, get your money. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Take that. But he's asked for more. Actually, what he asked for was significantly less than what other quarterbacks have gotten. But the Ravens seems to have basically called his bluff and said, all right, if you can get it from somebody else, get it, but they're gonna have to pay us.
Yeah, I see this from both sides. All right. I see it from the Ravens standpoint of obviously you don't like the number we're giving you. So we're gonna take our chances and see if you're gonna get what you think you're gonna get on the open market. And if you do get what you think you're gonna get, then we'll just get 2 first-round picks out of the deal. And if you don't get what you think you're gonna get, and you agree to that, well then we're just gonna match it and bring you back as long as it's not more than what we want or whatever. So either way it goes, they kind of win out of the deal. But I think Deshaun Watson messed it up for Lamar Jackson.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Elaborate though for the audience.
Because Deshaun Watson's contract is outrageous. And the fact that how much guaranteed money it is, and the caliber of player he is, plus the off the field issues, it was a desperate Cleveland Browns team doing whatever that they had to do to end up getting Deshaun Watson, so they severely overpaid for him. And I think Lamar is a victim of the owners and general managers not wanting Deshaun Watson type of contracts to become the new norm. I feel like they don't want $200 million fully guaranteed deals. And so I think because of what Cleveland did and grossly overpaying for Deshaun Watson, I think that kind of was the panic button. Like that made all the general managers only hit the panic button. Like, hold up. This is getting out. Like this is going too far now. We got to rein this back in now. And I feel like Lamar probably would have got, 180 guaranteed or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something closer to what he probably wants if it wasn't for Lamar Jackson. I mean, Deshaun Watson getting that ridiculous deal from Cleveland.
Yeah. What's good, Nick? But Nick brings up a good point. He said his problem with it is that multiple QB, or multiple teams need a QB like Washington, and they say they out on Jackson, which sounds kind of fishy.
And then he says, "So what I'm saying is collusion." No, I'm not saying it's collusion. Collusion would be all the general managers calling each other saying, "Hey, we're not going to sign him because we don't want this to happen." I think all of them came to this conclusion by themselves, because whenever Deshaun Watson got this contract, you had analysts and people like that coming out saying, man, this is going to be crazy. What this is about to do to the quarterback market. You know, they started saying, what about Joe Burrow? What about Lamar Jackson? You know what I mean? They started throwing names out like that as soon as this deal was through because they knew what it was going to do to the market. And so I think if they realized it and fans realized it, then obviously owners and general managers realized what this contract was going to do to the market. And this is just their way of trying to rein the market back to their side. And I don't think it's necessarily they all calling each other up saying, hey, let's do it. I think it's just them all coming to their own separate conclusions. And I don't agree that all of those teams are completely out of it. I think it's smart negotiation to say you're out of it when you're really not out of it. You know what I mean? Like, why would you come out and openly be like, yeah, we're finna go for him? That just makes absolutely no sense. You're just asking for a bit more. So I believe half of those teams are actually going to be, interested and are going to try to contact him and try to do some type of meetup negotiation or whatever, visit or whatever the case may be. But it's just smart negotiation to say that you're not interested so you can try to drive his price down.
Yeah. Several players. At the time when we were doing the notes, JJ Watt, Tyrann Mathieu, RG3, Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman also came out basically showing support for Lamar and kind of saying, echoing what Nick said, what we're saying. I'm surprised. Basically, this is what they're I'm paraphrasing, but I'm surprised you have a MVP, an NFL MVP still in his prime that is basically on the market, and all you have to do is just, pay him and the team can match, the Ravens can match, but nobody's even biting. And I get what you're saying that, hey, this could be, some tactics to try to drive down the price. But it's aggravating to me. And I can kind of go back to the Airbnb conversation. It's upsetting to me to see somebody who has, done a lot with a little. Let's be real. He hadn't necessarily always had excellent wide receivers or a team built around him to help him get to where he needs to be. They've had great defense, they've had some running backs, and they've had a piece or two. But you've got somebody who can take you, I feel like, who can take you there, and you sitting on them like, saying you asking for too much. And we see less qualified getting paid. So
yeah, all right. I don't disagree. However, I don't know what was offered to Lamar, right? Mm-hmm. All I have to go off of is what the reports were. And the reports were he was offered way more than $40 million. Now, what the guarantee was and all that, I have no idea. And that probably, if I am making assumptions. So that would be my assumption, would be the guaranteed money ain't where he wants it to be. But part of it is other teams aren't going to view Lamar in the same way that the Ravens would. For one, because they, to a certain extent, would have to kind of change what they do offensively to fit Lamar, to allow Lamar to do what he does best. And right or wrong, they're going to use that to lower his value. The fact that he gets injured a lot is also going to hurt his value. Even though I feel like he wasn't all the way hurt this year, I think he was business-wise, making sure he was 100% healthy for next season. But I just feel like we had to be careful with making everything like a race situation. Because like Geno Smith just got $35 million a year. Like people could say he wouldn't work that based off him only having one good season. You know what I mean? So I feel like we can't always throw race into it. But I do agree that the treatment Lamar getting is fishy to me. But I feel like it's not necessarily Lamar, it's the situation of him being the next quarterback up in the situation where this market is basically in like limbo right now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I feel like Joe Burrow is probably gonna go through the same thing next year, or it's gonna be Nick crazy. You know what I mean? Or like when Justin Herbert come up. You know what I mean? I feel like we're finna have these same conversations in a couple years whenever those guys need to get paid. So I just feel like it's not necessarily Lamar, it's just the fact that he was next in line.
I understand that, and that's understandable. That's
And the fact that he's his own agent. You know what I mean? Like
I can see that.
and like when you're in negotiations, right? And normally it's them talking to your agent about this kind of stuff and you on vacation or whatever, right? And they're telling your agent why you don't need to get this money you think you need to get, right? Like if they're telling your agent, you don't really know what they're saying. Your agent just coming in like, hey, they said no, you know what I mean? They only want to give you this. But whenever they telling you, oh well, you're not that good at this, you know what I'm saying? You need to get better at this, you know, and that's when niggas start getting personal. You know what I mean? And you might start looking like, man, I want to go somewhere else, so I ain't even gonna take that deal. You know what I mean? Like and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying Lamar's situation is different for a bunch of different variables. You know what I mean? So I feel like we got to make sure we take all that in consideration.
And when I said I wasn't necessarily saying race, but I was saying
Oh yeah,
it reminds me of
yeah.
the enemy of saying
Well,
he
yeah,
doesn't deserve. And
yeah, I'm not talking about you, but I've seen other people say, you know, because Derek Carr and Daniel Jones got paid and Lamar hasn't, that it's that situation.
Yeah. Julian says Tua next year, the Dolphins decline his 5th-year option. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I mean, he's talented, but that concussion
So
stuff
if you're
is
Lamar, did you play under the franchise tag for a year and go to Miami?
it'll be something to think about. He'll be a free agent, won't it?
Yeah, they could tag him again, but then he'll get paid a lot more.
A lot more. So yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this works. I feel like one of those teams who said, like, could you imagine him and Eric Bieniemy in Washington? Like, I feel like there's some teams who saying they're not interested, but they really interested, dog.
Listen,
and we just gotta let this play out.
If the Commanders could get Lamar Jackson and get him pairing with Eric Bieniemy under Ron Rivera,
they got weapons over there. They just need a quarterback. And I say this too, though. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, the Commanders gave the Philly the 2 of their toughest games. I know they gave them their first loss. So,
but in the silver and black, him and Josh McDaniels wouldn't clash. Oh, that would be terrible. But like, I could see him with the Jets if they don't land Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like there's teams who would be interested. We just got to see how
Atlanta has been thrown out there too. I don't think Atlanta.
I don't. Like, I feel like they try
he'd be good in Atlanta, but I don't. He'd be Vic been gone for I don't know how long. They'll be saying he Vic 2.0 and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm good. Pass me on that.
I feel like they just drafted Ritter. I feel like they're gonna give him a year to see what they got with him.
Yeah, at least just got rid of Mariota too.
So. Yeah, I think for that reason.
Julius says, "Please let me dream."
Y'all go get Jimmy G, man.
Yeah. Basketball. LSU men. In about 13 minutes, we'll be taking on Georgia. In the SEC tournament opening round, barring a miracle. LSU is pretty much. I don't know.
Season, KJ Williams. The best season no one will ever remember, probably. Yeah. And I mean, I hate it for him, but lack of team success is going to make this one kind of forgettable. Yeah. But I mean, it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? If just from a number standpoint of what he was able to do for this team, this should be one of the seasons that goes down as like, one of the best seasons, but individual seasons, you know what I mean, that we've seen in a while. second team All SEC, even on a team that only won 2 conference games. You
Mm.
got to put up numbers for that to happen. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I kind of hate it for him that it's going to be overshadowed and kind of forgotten in a way, because this was such a forgettable season in so many ways. But, I still think we deserve to kind of tip our hat to him for a hell of a season. And, a way to individually end your career, maybe not just a team success, but he definitely had the individual success to end his career.
Yeah. LSU women now projected as a 3 seed. Urgh.
Dropped to number 9 in the polls. That's about right. I think they're a victim of their non-conference play, and whenever you don't play the tougher teams, and you had one game versus top 10, top 5 opponent in South Carolina, and you got blown out, and then you don't really, like, Tennessee was your next toughest game, so, and you lost and you split with them. So I feel like you got to play more Stanford, Iowa, UConn, but even Baylor, type teams in the non-conference to get your strength of schedule up, get your respectability level up. Not saying that LSU isn't a respectable program, but you get more credit. You get more credibility whenever you constantly playing the top echelon teams and not just playing a bunch of mid majors and stuff like that in non-conference. So I think Kim obviously knows what she's doing, and I feel like in the future we'll see the schedule get tougher. But I think what she's building a program right now, and you don't go take this team and go play UConn in stores. You know what I mean? Like, they're not ready for that. So I think she knew what she was doing, but because of that, it's going to hurt them come tournament time. That's why we saw them at the 2 seed for the longest, even though they were the number 2 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see them lose one game and fall from number 3 in the country to number 9, and they're a 3 seed now. So I will say I feel like they're going to be able to beat, probably, if they're a 9 seed, I feel like they could beat 6 of the 8 teams in front of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On any given night, just a couple that they're gonna give them problems no matter what.
Yeah. All right. You ready to talk about this?
No. Sure, I don't care, man. I give up at this point, bro.
Zion said Zion is a report came out today, said Zion is not close to returning. But then I saw another report that actually came from the Pels, said that he's healing faster than
2 weeks away
expected, and they'll reevaluate in 2 weeks.
I done said it once, I said it 1,000 times. It's obviously something wrong with the medical staff in New Orleans for both franchises. Michael Thomas had setbacks, and everybody else had a setback for the Saints. Zion had a setback. Brandon Ingram had a setback. So I'm over it, bro. When he plays, great. If he doesn't play, great. I'm sick of it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it.
I'm not I'm not a Pels fan. I mean, it's not, none against them. This is what bothers me. The Pels had they had a lot of momentum coming into the season with the way last season ended and the way they started this year. I feel like this just set the Pels back. If not 1, maybe 2 years. Just simply because you got contracts you got to start worrying about. You've got your role players have it. This is gonna sound bad, but it's the nature of the business. You got role players who are stepping up into starting roles and have now created, identity for themselves, or have played better, and they're going to want a little bit more money.
Most of our role players under contract, though. Yeah. That I will say that.
Okay,
but I do agree that it set us back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you You only at the trade deadline this year, you had only seen 10 games with your starting five together. So you didn't know what you had. And because of that, you kind of sat on what you had and was like, well, let's see what we have. And you didn't really make a move. And now you're kind of getting passed up by teams that did make a move, and you still don't have all your pieces. So because you can't stay healthy, because we haven't seen this team really at their full capacity, we don't really know what they can do. And so because of that, you've kind of lost another season. And, I mean, I can't say it's completely lost yet, but it's going that way of another season lost, trying to see what you have with this core team. So, I mean, I kind of agree with you. This seems like a lost season at this point. I mean, Zion can come back in 2 weeks for a playoff push, and you can win a playoff series, and, that could kind of salvage it to a certain extent, but it still would be a disappointment to a lot of people because you were the number one seed at one point. You know what I mean? And going from the number one seed to right now being 10th, fighting to stay in the play-in tournament and settling for, a playoff win, I feel like you salvage it, but that's still kind of disappointment. And I know Nick said we got a rivalry, but they traded Jay Crowder, so I really don't hate them no more. So I just hated Jay Crowder, honestly. And him and Ice Age, but Ice Age still there, but honestly, it's just Jay Crowder. But yeah, man, as a
Cameron
Pelicans
Payne.
fan,
That's
yeah,
you call.
yeah, and and as a Pelicans fan though, right now it's just frustrating because it seems like okay, we had B.I. got hurt. Zion was carrying us for a little while with CJ, and then Zion gets hurt. Okay, he'll be out for a little while. B.I. comes back. Okay, Zion finna come back. Oh, not 2 more weeks. Like it seems like we can never get everybody back together all on the same. And now, but see that's the thing. Like Larry Nance been out with injuries. Valanciunas has been out with injuries. Man, we've had so many other guys out with injuries that when you don't have a big piece like Zion, losing a Larry Nance or a Valanciunas just hurts you that much more. But I think we'll be all right, man. We need Knicks Suns to knock off OKC tonight, and we got to hold on against Dallas. That's why I'll keep checking my phone, man. We up 4 with 24 seconds, so we'll see. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah. But that's it, man. That's all we got for tonight, man. You got anything else before we get up out of there?
No, I do not. State championships this weekend in basketball, though. So we'll see what who can bring it home in Louisiana. I might recap it this. We'll see. Yeah. See y'all Sunday though.
All right, we'll be back Sunday with another episode of the Golden Boot. Like that, we out.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.